Hi there, it's Heather Fiore with Freestay Nutrition. Today, I wanted to just hop on here real quick, talk to you about sunscreen. It is the middle of May, which is kind of crazy. And so hopefully you've already been using sunscreen for like, I don't know, a month or so, at least here in Kansas. Yeah, I understand it's raining pretty much on the East Coast. So actually that kind of brings up a good point here. Sunscreen is not the only way to protect yourself from the sun, of course. You could also just not go outside, which is a bummer because outside is great. So, but that does protect you. Another option is sun protective clothing and hats and stuff, right? So you could do any of those things. You could also just try to avoid the peak times for the sun, which some people say is like 10 to 2 or maybe 11 to 2. I tend to be conservative, so I'm going to just say 10 to 2. Those are the prime sun hours where you really need to be careful. Of course, if you know me or know anything about me, I am a little bit of a fanatic about sunscreen. I've been wearing it pretty religiously since, I don't know, maybe 7th grade, something like that. So I take it pretty seriously. And I will put sunscreen on to go watch a baseball game at like 6 p.m. That's just me. I was told by a dermatologist many years ago that any color to your skin, anytime the sun adds color to your skin, that is skin damage right there. So anyway, so I try to avoid all color. So, all right, so here's what I want to say about sunscreen. It's a little bit ironic that we use sunscreen to try to prevent skin cancer, at least that's what I'm doing. And we don't even, there's not even really solid evidence that it does that for us. I'm still gonna use my sunscreen, just saying. But the thing that is ironic about that is that sunscreen gets under our skin, right? It gets absorbed. We're putting it on our largest organ, our skin, and it's being absorbed. And a lot of the products that are on the market have some potentially harmful ingredients in them. And so oxybenzone is one. It's an allergen, it's a hormone disruptor, and that is in a lot of products. The other thing that's kind of terrible about oxybenzone is it's not good for for marine life, like the coral. And so for places that are close to coral, they actually ban products with oxybenzone in it because it can be really damaging to the coral, and that can be permanent damage. So we don't want that. Another thing that's in our sunscreens, or in a lot of them, is retinol palmitate, which it can also be harmful to skin. So that's kind of ironic, isn't it? So the point that I'm making here is that this industry is not regulated very well. And hey, Carolyn. And so we need to be careful. We need to kind of take care of ourselves here to figure out which sunscreens are safe for ourselves and our families. Because like I said before, you could just avoid going outside. But that's not terribly practical. So what I propose here is, can you see that? The Environmental Working Group has a sunscreen guide, comes out every year. You can find, just a list of like what are the best ones, or what are the best ones for kids, or what are the best ones for sports. They kind of break it down. You could also just check out your product and see if it's safe on their guide. The 2019 guide has not come out yet, so that is a bummer, but you can still use the 2018 one. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't change that much year to year. I'm very glad that they put out a new one and they check out the latest products and make sure things haven't, like formulations haven't changed and everything. But the products that I have used for a while are pretty much always on the list. And so, so I always double check but, you know, I can't be waiting until, you know, here it is the middle of May, like I need my sunscreen. So I always go with last year's guide to buy my first batch. And then when I need new sunscreen, I'll check out the current guide to make sure that what I've been using is still pretty okay. So what else do I want to say about that? Oh, the other thing I want to say about sunscreen too is like sprays. You need to be really careful about sunscreen sprays. Another one of the things that I'm kind of anal about, because I have asthma and my daughter has asthma, and so I don't want to be breathing in stuff if I can avoid it. So you know, I think everybody should be careful about sunscreen sprays. There's a lot of additives in there to make them, you know, sort of spray and go all over. And so it's not necessarily the sunscreen itself, it's what they add to it. And so you need to be careful about that. But don't worry, Environmental Working Group also looks at sprays and tries to tell you which are the ones that are the best options for you. All right, what else am I missing here? Okay, so, oh, and then the SPF, yes. You really don't need more than 30. 50 would probably be okay, but beyond that, like, it's kind of meaningless. And it may not be actually protecting you any, additionally, it may not be protecting you from the UVA and UVB rays that are the things we're concerned about. So I would avoid anything over 30 and possibly, I guess, 50 if you really feel like, you know, but it kind of gives you this false sense of security about it, like you could leave it on longer and, you know, put it on thinner because it's higher SPF, and that's not the case. And that's part of the problem with it, is it's sort of gives us this impression that it's going to be better, and it's not. You always have to reapply. Okay, check the label for how often you need to reapply, especially if you're getting wet, if you're sweating or you're swimming, for sure. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about my favorite ones. This one I've been using for several years. It is Alba Botanica. I like it because it's not too expensive. I can get it at the grocery store, and I don't mind it. Like, it goes on, it leaves me a little bit pasty. I'm already pasty. Like, I'm not wearing sunscreen right now. This is the color of my skin. It does add a little pastiness, but it goes on kind of smooth, and it doesn't. It's not too thick usually. Depends on the batch, but usually it goes on pretty well. So we've been using this for years. There's also Blue Lizard. We like that one, but that's not available at the grocery store, so I don't tend to buy that one. What I've been using lately this year is Beauty Counter. This is not the full-size bottle, by the way. This is just a little sample. So Beauty Counter, and then they have a stick, which I'm also loving, because I can just throw this little guy in my purse. It goes on really easily and does not leave me pasty. Like, it's amazing. It goes on, it's not absorbing, and that's the thing about mineral-based sunscreens. Those are the safest ones. Mineral-based, they're not getting absorbed into the skin. They're sitting on top, but somehow Beauty Counter manages to get it to blend so it'll cover, and but not in a pasty way. So the two things that you want, or one of two things you want in your mineral-based sunscreen would be zinc oxide or titanium dioxide. Those are your minerals. Those are the ones, like I said, they sit on top of the skin, most of the time leaving you with a little bit of a pasty glow, but Beauty Counter doesn't. It's amazing. So just last thing real quick, I will say that what I'm holding right here is a sample, and I am happy to send you a sample if that's something you would want. So you just let me know, give me a, send me a comment, send me a message, let me know, I will hook you up. You can try it out, and there's quite a bit in here. You could probably use that a few times. So let me know if you're interested. So that's what I have to say about sunscreen. You should use it. Thanks for watching.